Jake hadn't been home in 10 years, not since that night, the night of slammed doors, angry voices, and words that should never have been spoken. He didn't remember exactly what started it. Just that something inside him had snapped, and he walked out. He told himself it was just for a few days, maybe a week. But pride was a heavy thing, and silence grew heavier with time. Now, he was back, but the house didn't feel the same. The porch still creaked beneath his boots. The wind chimed by the kitchen window still danced with the breeze, playing that soft tinkling melody his mother always loved. But the curtains were drawn, and the welcome mat was half covered in dry leaves. No lamp glowed in the window. No figure stood at the door waiting till she was gone. Jake stood on the porch for what felt like forever. The key was still under the potted, planned just like it had always been. As he unlocked the door and stepped inside, the air greeted him with a strange mixture of stillness and memory. The scent of cinnamon and tea still lingered faintly in the walls, like a whisper from another time. The house was clean, tidy, in the way his mother always kept it. There were no signs of illness or struggle, just the quiet absence of life. On the living room table sat a note left by the neighbor, Mrs. Ellison. Jake, I thought you should have this. Your mother passed peacefully in her sleep. She spoke of you often, said she'd be ready when you came home. Ellie, next to the note was a small blue tin box. It was the same kind of tin his mom used to keep sewing needles and buttons in. But this one had his name written across the top in faded black marker. For Jake, when you're ready. He picked it up. It felt heavier than it looked. Jake sat down slowly on the old couch, tin box on his lap. His fingers hesitated. Then he lifted the lid. Inside were letters, dozens of them. Some folded neatly in envelopes, others just loose sheets of paper, all addressed to him, each one dated. Spanning 10 years, he picked up the first one. April 3, 2015, 1 week after you left, dear Jake. I don't know what I did wrong. I wish I could go back and undo whatever hurt you. I know you're angry. Maybe you have every right to be, but you're still my son. Tonight I made your favorite chicken stew. I pretended you were coming through the door like always, saying you were starving. The bowl is still sitting on the counter. I miss you already. Love, Mom. Jake swallowed hard. His eyes scanned the shaky handwriting. He knew this paper, cheap line notebook paper with slightly torn edges, the kind she always wrote grocery lists on. He reached for another. December 25th, 2015, Christmas, Jake. I didn't put up the Christmas tree this year. It didn't feel right without you. I bought you a new flannel shirt anyway. Left the tag on. Maybe next year. I miss your laugh. That deep one you try to hide when something actually makes you smile. It's quiet here. To quiet. Love you always, Mom. There were more. So many more. One for each birthday. One for a Thanksgiving. One she wrote after she'd been to the hospital and didn't tell him. Another she wrote when his childhood dog passed away. They were all different, but all shared the same tone: loving, patient, never bitter. Not once did she ask, "Why haven't you come home?" She only asked how he was, if he was warm, if he was safe, if he still liked cinnamon in his oatmeal. Jake read them one by one, the tears coming slowly at first, then pouring like a rain that had waited too long to fall. One letter caught his attention. It was newer. The handwriting was weaker, but the words no less clear. August 17th, 2020, for no envelope. Just a folded sheet with shaky script. My dear Jake, if you're reading this, I guess you finally came home. I hope it means you're okay. I hope you found your way through whatever it was that made you go. I always believed you would. Come back. I never stopped setting an extra plate on your birthday. Never stopped making your favorite pie on Thanksgiving, even if I was the only one eating it. I kept these letters because I didn't want to burden you with them if you weren't ready. Maybe I was the one who wasn't ready. But now I am. If I'm gone, please don't feel guilty. That's not what these are for. These letters are my way of sitting with you again, of letting you know no matter how far you went, no matter how long it's been, you are always loved. Love you forever. Mom. Jake folded the letter slowly, pressing it to his chest. The tin box was now empty, but his heart was anything. But he leaned back against the couch, letting the quiet wrap around him. A breeze came through the cracked window, fluttering the curtains gently. In that moment, the house didn't feel empty. It felt full of memories, of warmth, of words finally read, and a mother's love that had waited patiently, without judgment, for 10 long years. The next morning, Jake took a walk to the backyard. The old oak tree still stood tall. Beneath, it was the bench his father had built decades ago. Weathered but sturdy, Jake sat down with the box beside him. He wasn't sure what came next. He didn't know if he would stay, or for how long. But he knew one thing. He would never let another year pass in silence. He pulled out a notebook from his bag, one he'd brought on a whim, and began to write. Dear Mom, I should have written sooner. I should have come home sooner. I don't know what I was trying to prove by staying away. Maybe I thought I was protecting myself. Maybe I thought I was protecting you. But the truth is I missed you. I missed this house. I missed your voice. And even your long stories I used to pretend not to care about. I'm sorry, Mom. I hope somehow, somewhere, you can hear this. As the sun rose higher in the sky, the light breeze carried the scent of grass and old leaves. Jake closed the notebook and smiled faintly. There were no more letters to read, but now there were stories to write.